All right, guys, what is going on? What is good? What is good? Hopefully you guys had a good weekend. I had a pretty good weekend, I must say. I finally got to show my friend's kid the Corvette, man. I was excited. I was excited. I was gonna be like, you want to drive it? And then I thought, I'm not gonna ask him that. I ain't gonna ask him that. My friend's kid he's either 8 or 9 years old. So he finally got to see it. Let's see. I let him sit in the driver's seat. He was like, "Oh, this is so low to the ground." I was like, "Yeah." And then he was like looking around. He's like, "This is not like any other car." So I was like, "Yeah, of course. That's why I'm trying to show it to you, big fella." And I was like, "Yeah, you know those Hot Wheels that I've bought. I've gotten him Hot Wheels over the years." And I was like, "Those Hot Wheels that I get for you, I finally got one, you know, in real life. So this is what it's like." So I was waiting a while to do that. You know what I mean? I was waiting a while to do that. Finally got to do it. So I'm happy. I finished last night Wisdom is Work, or Wisdom Takes Work, sorry. By Ryan Holiday. And I got to rant about it, man. I got to rant about it. I have to. I can't leave it alone. So, if you're not ready for that, you can watch or listen to somebody else today, because how do I put this? So, matter of fact, let's do our intro real quick before because once I get going, this we're not coming back. So let's do this real quick. What is good, Naruto, Mason, Jorks, Felix, Adam, Laurent, one of our newer members. Welcome. Appreciate that, Mark. It's 3 hours long. It's called Smooth Old Jazz Chill Out, Smoky Night Lounge Jazz with Saxophone and Guitar by Pause Maybe. Pause Maybe. So if you like it, you can listen to it if you like. I would play it low for you guys to hear it, but then I couldn't have it loud enough for me. So I'd rather, if you guys want to listen to other things while I, you know, do what I do here, then you're more than welcome to listen to your own stuff. But thank you, Mark. It was good. 2020, Roger, Eberneth, Eric H, Torty, Scott, Oscar, Fernando, and everyone else that doesn't have chat access. Hello to you too. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever have you. Okay, so like I said, Wisdom Takes. I don't have the paper cover on. I took it off, but right, Wisdom Takes Work by Ryan Holiday, and I took the sleeve off because when I'm reading it, I don't like the sleeve because it slips, you know. So I'll just take it off. And like I said on my Instagram story last week or this weekend, you know, I wrote a lot. I've even dog-eared some of the pages. You might not be able to see, but there's a lot of writing in here. I read every word, even the after forward, or I've read the whole thing. Okay, I'll put it to you that way. The acknowledgments afterward. There we go. So I think the book is worth reading. I'll start with that. I think it's worth reading. Jonas, welcome. But I can tell you for a fact, I will not be reading this one again. And I think it was not a good way to end this series. So if you guys don't know, I think Ryan started this series in 2019. So it's been about 6 years almost. This book came out like last week, right? So, you know, it's still new. We just completed the Stoic Virtue series, Wisdom, Courage, Justice, and Temperance. I sort of knew things were going a little bit south from Right Thing Right Now. where he really leans into the liberal stuff. He really leans left politically, very anti-Trump, which is fine. Again, we're all entitled to our own opinion, and he's not going to say something that doesn't have proof behind it, which again is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But let me tell you something. The way that Ryan writes is he'll have a chapter on somebody, he'll have a chapter on somebody else, usually good, sometimes, in a negative light. And then in later chapters, he'll reference the people he talked about earlier, which is, it's great to help drive whatever point that is home. I think it's awesome to do that. He'll talk about Lincoln and then he'll reference Lincoln later, or maybe even like a third time in a chapter way near the end of the book. I like it. Nothing wrong with that. Until wisdom takes work. Okay. This is where things get I honestly, I can't believe he even did this. This book is a hit piece against Elon Musk is what it is. So he has a chapter on Elon Musk, and it starts off really well. He's the richest person in the world. He's super smart. He did all these great things, runs all these companies, blah, 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 blah. And then it's like, okay, what's next, Ryan? What's coming? And then he just goes off, and for pages upon pages upon pages, he goes off on Elon Musk about having all these kids that he doesn't raise. Talks about like childhood trauma. He talks about all the crazy tweets that he's done. And again, I'm not saying that Elon hasn't tweeted some crazy stuff. Trump, same thing. They both have tweeted some off the wall stuff. We've all seen it. There's no argument against that. He references Elon Musk not a second time, not a third time, not a fourth time, not a fifth time, not a sixth time, not a seventh time, not an eighth time. And I kid you not, he talks about Elon Musk in 9 different chapters. 9 times. You get me? That's one for every day of the week, and then another 2 times. I was so baffled at that, because here's the thing. When you write a book and you actually work for like a publishing company, right? You have your work, you write it, obviously. You edit your own stuff, you re-edit your own stuff, an editor looks at it. It goes through so many people's eyes before they say, okay, this is it, we'll launch it, we'll do 6-8 months from now, cool. And I have such a hard time believing that all these people, Ryan included, editing, re-editing, all these other editors said, you know what? It's cool. We'll talk about Elon Musk in 9 different chapters. And then I think he mentions him again in the afterword. Go to Goodreads, the Goodreads website, and you'll see what I'm talking about, because other people said the same thing. They're like, yo, this was such a promising book, and it started off wonderful, and then like 2/3 of the way into it, we all just drudged our way in the last third. Like it was like trying to sprint through quicksand the last 1/3 of this book. So beware, okay? Just be mindful that it starts off amazing. I have a lot of notes, and then I don't know, around the halfway point, it just really it does one of these, like on gold, you know what I mean? It does this. It started off really well, and then it just, and I don't like that. And I don't like it. So, and yeah, Mark, here's what I told you guys, and I tell my friends this too. I tell people all the time, like, look, you gotta realize authors are not perfect. None of us are perfect, right? We take losing trades, you know, we cuss probably. I haven't done that yet today, at least on stream. So I'm proud for 12 minutes of that. And the thing is there's never going to be like this perfect book. You know what I mean? There's going to be something that you may not agree with, or something that seems sketchy or whatever, especially in the self-help genre. Okay. I'm not going to discount all of his work because 5 to 10% of it is garbage. You know what I mean? Like, if you take all the streams that I've done, do you really think that every stream is going to be like top tier, this is a rewatch? No. Are there a few streams like that? Well, I would hope so. After however many we've done, a couple hundred, you know, there's probably a few that are like, yeah, this one is, you know, like the 48 Laws of Trading. You know, that to me, I made that video specifically to watch and to rewatch, you know, something quality, something that's incredible. You may not agree with all the laws, but out of 48 laws, if you like 45 of them, are you going to discount that because 3 of them you don't like? And if you did, to me, that's just stupid. So it's the same thing with Ryan. I love his work, but sometimes it's like he purposely pisses people off. You know, so I'm not going to discount the good stuff just because there's a little bit of bad stuff. This isn't a fruit. Okay. If a fruit had some mold on it, yeah, toss it out. Toss it out. But in this case, there's still some good things. So that's my rant. I gave it a 3 stars. I really should have gave it like 2, but I gave it 3 stars because it does have value, but the political stuff, I just don't know why people feel so compelled to share their opinion, you know? The difference between NQ and YM. Yeah, today was, I don't want to say strange. That's like the first word that comes to my mind. I like what we did, right? We talked last week, I think on Thursday or Friday, about, you know, being bullish, right? We talked about all those highs that we never got. You remember that? Watching for those highs to get taken on Friday was like the last third of this book. It was like, okay, bro, are you gonna get up there, or are you just gonna not? So we don't do it. It's like, okay, fine, no big deal. And then Sunday's like, all right, hold my beer. Whoop. Goes way past that, right? And now we have drifted higher and higher. So no worries there for ES. NQ, similar story. We really don't get that much of a retracement below Sunday's open. We just continued higher. And it was Dow, as per usual, who sucks. Dow sucks. Trading Dow sucks for the most part. Dow sucks. And that's a point that I'm going to drive home for a long time. This is dirt. So, because we have a lower Dow and we have like a much, much higher NQ, you know, if you're not already long, I don't know what to tell you. What I can tell you is long-term accounts are blessed right now. Like the long-term account, bro, look at this stuff, man. Look at this stuff. If you longed anywhere in October, anywhere in September, anywhere, like anytime prior to August of this year, like you're up, bro. Even on Friday. Even on Friday. You know what I mean? So all the long-term accounts are wonderful. I haven't done anything on the future side today. So, or maybe I took a small break even. And that was it, which is pretty much nothing. So, yeah, that's kind of where things are at today. I do not see myself trading this today. Trying to pick a high, I think, is not great. I think it's suicide, just like we talked about on Friday. Remember that we talked about that when we were getting up there? Or maybe it was like right here. I was like, would you short that? Would you short that? And, you know, just being stupid. And that's why I posted that GIF yesterday when we opened way up there. I was gonna go on Instagram and say, hey, check on your friends who are short. You know what I mean? But I didn't want to be like that. Not everybody likes my humor. You know, it's not that I care, because I don't, but I just didn't feel like starting anything. So, but as of now, yeah, if your friend is short, you should, I don't know, take him to a hospital and get that mind checked out. Psych eval expeditiously. If if that is the case. So anyway, Scott said call 911. Yeah. So, you guys have any questions? I've said what I needed to say. I started to write down these notes before our stream started. I stopped, obviously, to stream. I may finish this a little bit later today, but yeah, another book, you know, on the shelf, on the completion side, on the completed side. You know what? I guess we can talk about dollar for a second if you guys don't have any questions. I know you have questions. You just don't want to type it out. Because you guys hate me, you know? I know you always go through it, but can you walk us through on what you see when you first hop on the charts? So, the very first thing is going to be like Sunday evening. So, I try not to like sit and camp around to wait for the open. But usually like 30, 45 minutes after the open, like if I notice it's time, I'm like, okay, let's see where we opened at. And when we open with a large gap like we did, that, to me, that does make Monday morning a little bit difficult. I would, and again, this is still for like Sunday, I would go check out the dollar. I don't do this every single Sunday, but for like a full analysis, yeah, I would go over to the dollar and maybe a brief weekly, but probably more time on the daily time frame, just to see, you know, as per usual, where are we at right now, where are we going, where are we coming from, and if there is a potential intermarket pairing, I guess is probably the right word. Meaning, for example, if I wanted to be bullish on indices, I think it would be more beneficial if we were also bearish on the dollar. We won't always do that, but if it aligns, to me, that's just higher probability. When I pull up the dollar, you know, it has the same stuff on there that I've already shown you from last week. We have been, since Wednesday, in this dude, look at this daily time frame, dog. Like, what is even Thursday? What is that? What is even Thursday's candle, bro? You know what I mean? What is that? And then what is Friday, dog? It's gross. This is horrible. What do you do with that? And then today, right, we are still, well, we're actually inside of Friday's range. We have an inside day is what it's called. We have an inside day today on the dollar index. So with this, you know, I don't know, but to me, if I had to pick a side here, this would be bullish in my opinion. I would want us to trade higher, probably above these highs. Now, if we don't do that, if we go lower instead, I wouldn't be shocked. Okay? I wouldn't be shocked. And the only reason that I would suspect higher pricing really has more so to do with the euro than it does with the dollar. Now, here's the thing, and this is like also what my friend had as well, which again, I could be wrong, right? I don't think it's that high probability. The euro back in August, right, made a low. We took that low October 9th, and then we ended up making equal lows down here. So the highs on dollar are the lows here on euro. Back on the 17th, we traded into that Sunday's gap up there, traded all the way back down here. And then same thing, we're inside this current range here. And if you look at what we've done, we had obviously large up candles, some large down candles, and now we're really just getting, we saw expansion candles, now we're just seeing like lower range candles. They're not going anywhere. They're leaving a lot of wicks on both sides. You know what I mean? So it's hard to say. It's hard to say. This to me might be an inversion. I thought it was going to be last week. Like, hey, we have an imbalance that wasn't respected at all. Like at all. So it's like, okay, well, let's see if that becomes an inversion. That still could be the case, but we've already traded outside of it a couple times. So again, it's hard to say. I don't know. But just to answer your question, that's what I'm looking at. Where are we at right now? Where are we coming from? And where are we going? You know, I'm going to look for, okay, do we have equal lows or equal highs or, you know, whatever. And intermarket as well. So when we have indices and when we are at all-time highs after a large gap up and we've been sort of just stair-stepping higher all day, I don't do anything with that. Kess, no, I'm not sure what to tell you. I like TradingView. I like trading through TradingView. I like their platform. I think every other platform is not it, personally. Top Step X isn't that bad, but they run into a lot of issues. So, you know. And we're not going to forget the other day when they had issues and then they took away everybody's trades. Usually when they have issue, they're like, okay, if you took a loss, we'll bring it back and we'll let you keep the profit. But they said, nope, everybody's stuff is reset. Even like the wins. I don't know. We're not going to forget that. Oh, they did, Mason? Oh, well, maybe I'm misinformed then. They gave everyone a free XFA though? Black Friday coming around for them? Dude, I'm about to drop a bag on Black Friday. That's coming. TradingView another year. I almost have a free year. You know how every year when you buy a year, they give you a free month? I have almost a free year. That's how long I've been with TradingView. A free year of TradingView is insane. Yeah, I might buy other stuff on Black Friday too. I don't know. What do you mean, Adam? Which one do I recommend? One of what? What are we talking about here? What are we talking about here, my friend? Oh, I don't know. I get the highest paid TradingView account. Whatever the highest one is. Premium or whatever. AKA the most expensive one. I don't know if did I tell you guys last week, I bought tickets to an event called Life Surge, and John Maxwell's going to be there. And I was looking at the tickets, you know what I mean? And then I saw the last one, and it wasn't premium, it was like ultimate or something like that. It said ultimate tickets. And then I get photos or a photo with John Maxwell. I was like, sign me up right now. I want a photo with John Maxwell. I got to tell him he's the GOAT. I got to be like, what up, GOAT? So I'm going to meet him in December. And the best part about that is I don't have to drive all that far. Jonah said, I recommend buying TradingView on Cyber Monday. They always do that. They do the Black Friday deal, and then they do the Cyber Monday to try and get all the FOMO. You know what I mean? They tell you not to FOMO, and then they do FOMO marketing. But hey, whatever. Whatever. One in person. Oh, Mason, you want me to stream the Life Surge event? I might do it. Bro, I kid you not, I have front row tickets. Like, bro, y'all remember those IM events? And you remember the tables right outside? Like, front row, dog. Like, front row. Front row, big fella. Like, I could probably sneeze and hit the speaker. You know what I mean? Oh. He said SMS meetup. Yeah, maybe. You guys got to behave. You guys have got to behave. You know, I've been watching you guys a lot in the chat this year, man. I don't know. I don't know if you guys can handle that. I don't know. Anyway, we have like, it's funny. We get more viewers when I don't have anything for you. When it's always like, all right, we got a lesson today. Nobody shows up. And then when I don't have anything, oh, we get 60, 70 people. That's always nice. You know what I mean? That's always nice. Well, okay, we can get into it a little bit. Let's talk about time, price, and context for a second. We'll do that. So, time, price, and context. If you remember, we talked about this last week, I think, on 2 different occasions. And the aspect of time, okay? Time windows, day of the week, stuff like that, seasonality, that all plays a part of it. But specifically, like in day trading, the aspect of time, wonderful, okay? And it makes you look at concepts differently, because a concept can be disrespected but then reclaimed. Why is it reclaimed? Because of time. Does that make sense? And it's weird, it's strange, it doesn't make sense at first. A lot of people deny this stuff. A lot of people don't like what I teach, and that's fine. But remember, you can always disagree with me, but you can never disagree with price. Okay? So with that being said, we do have the macro timeframes with opening price. So we do have that. And it is a little grayed because I don't want it like just massively contrasted, like where your eye just gravitates towards that. But if we look at this for a minute, And this also, the macro indicator is a really good back testing tool too. So you can see the macros throughout the day, every day. So 68.89 was equal highs from London. So it's either, hey, they're going to leave those open or they're going to run for those. Now at 8:30, I thought they were going to run it like at 8:30, like right here. I thought they were just going to run it up first. I don't know why I thought that. It's just like, well, it might. You know what I mean? So 8:30 Monday morning, cool. We don't get that. We end up trading lower, and then we just consolidate a lot, right? Leading up to 8:50. Now this is where things get interesting, okay? Because what do you notice here? And if you're in our Discord, then you've already seen it. You've already seen it, but we have a lot of people would call this choppy, right? I think one of you said that in the Discord earlier. You're like, oh, this is choppy. And I'm not denying that. I'm not denying that. But when we get to the aspect of time, okay, and we align that with price, with the right context, this is what we get. We get good stuff. Thank you, Roger. I appreciate that. So these down candles don't really mean anything to me. Again, more consolidation, down candles, they don't mean anything. Then these down candles, this is where things get interesting. And this is why I messaged the Discord earlier. I think it was at 8:54. At 8:54. So that was right here. I said, it looks like, I don't even know what I said. I know what I said, but not word for word. At 8:54, I said, ES doesn't look like it wants to leave the highs open. It's hard to tell here. But that was at least like where I'm leaning. Okay? And Sammy, the cat that I grew up with was Sammy. Rest in peace. You can get in the Discord by going to your Discord user settings, go to connections, and then go to YouTube and sign in with the account that you signed up here with, and you'll be in our Discord. So do that. There's also instructions on the community tab dozens of times if you forget. But anyway, back to what we were talking about. The macro starts here at 8:50. So we do trade lower initially, then we rallied, then we gapped up right here, right? One tick, no problem. So that right there, soon as that candle closes and we get another candle that starts, that right there. Okay, what is that? That's an imbalance. Now I'm gonna make the shading darker so that we're able to see it. And then look at that. These down candles here. Okay. So what is the difference, right? What is the difference? And again, please don't miss this. Do not miss this. All right. I went to church yesterday, and it was funny because he like said something similar. He's like, I want you to get this. So I'm like picking up the mannerisms, right? I want you to get this. These down candles, well, they really don't even get traded through here with a closer, like at all. These down candles do, but we trade right back into that like range here. But yet these down candles, right? They get traded through at 8:52. That's inside the macro time, right? The algorithm that doesn't exist. Right? Look at that. Boom. Look at that. In. Off of it. In. One more time. 8:58. Doesn't do it. Trades down again into what? Oh. a down candle here. Boom. Trades through those down candles here. What's it trade down into? Down candles. Boom. Then runs that. Or at least, well, sweeps it. I mean, it doesn't really run it until later. But my point is, that's time, price, and context. That is time, price, and context. Okay? It looks sloppy. It does. It's like when you reheat lasagna in the microwave and it just falls over. You know what I mean? It looks, we're still going to eat it, but it just doesn't look like it's supposed to. You know what I mean? But when you add what you're supposed to add on here, I'm glad one person thinks that's funny. Good thing I didn't get into comedy. That wouldn't be good. I wouldn't make it as a comedian. There's your shift in the state of delivery inside the macro time window. Okay. The algorithm that doesn't exist is repricing to liquidity. So what happened to all the people who had buy limits in here? Or maybe they had a buy limit at the low and it hit the low, but they didn't get filled. Why is that? Does that ever get your gears turning? Because nobody answers me. Nobody ever answers me. You know? But the volume, but the orders. Whoop. Market doesn't care. Algorithm doesn't care. The algorithm's going to reference price in time. Price in time. See that? That's just so interesting, isn't it? Yep. Now, that was a scalp, obviously. If you held on to that thinking we would swing for the fences, well, it definitely came back, didn't it? And it did. It did. I need to look at something real quick. This looks interesting to me. 6680, or no, sorry, 6882. Wow, look at that. Okay, look at that. That imbalance that we had marked up a second ago. This one right here. 6682 is the open of that last down candle here. And the gap higher is 6884 and a quarter. And it obviously trades through that here. No problem. But look at where all the bodies are stopping here. And listen, I don't think there's anything to like take away from that. Like, what would you do with that? I don't know. Seriously, I don't know. But what I do think is interesting, what were we just talking about? We were talking about how concepts can be like disrespected and then reclaimed later. Yeah, look at that. So that imbalance, it was respected to go higher here. Then it was disrespected and doesn't become an inversion. It comes back into it, but then look where all the bodies are stopping within the parameters of that imbalance here. And then it's going higher. I don't know, like, again, to me, that's interesting. How can it not be? How can it not be interesting, chat? You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Same thing here on NQ, just different story. It doesn't have equal highs, but those three down candles, right? Like ES had. Same thing. Inside the macro, though, we trade through them and then back into them here. Right? Look at those wicks right here. This is a 1 minute time frame, by the way. Right? The time frame that a lot of people out there, oh, the 1 minute sucks. It's just noise. It's this, it's that. It's precise is what it is. Right? If you're gonna speak, be accurate. You know what I mean? Speak the truth, dog. Look at that. We trade down into it, but the body's respecting it. Look at that. Into it, body's respecting it. Come on, man. Whoop. New hive day. Look at that. This macro here is, I would say, interesting. It was like a continuation higher. You know what I mean? It does drop. Takes out like that low and I guess that 930 low here. Rallies up and then look at that mitigation. Look at that mitigation at the tail end of the macro, dude. Look at that. It does trade back into it outside of a macro. I mean, I'm not going to argue with price, but look at that, dude. Look at the precision on that. It trades into it a little bit and then away from it. Like, how can you sit here and look at this and go, yeah, this is all just random? It still baffles me, man. There's things that I continue to study that I still just don't get. You know what I mean? I just don't get it. But anyway, that's really all that I have for you. That I thought was interesting. That was the only thing that I thought was interesting today, for me personally, was this right here. You know what I mean? Like at 8:54, when I said it doesn't look like they're going to leave those open, and it is hard to tell, because it was hard to tell. It's always easy to look at this stuff in hindsight. But do you ever look at a chart, like when I tell you something? It's not always easy, okay? It's not always easy. But right at 8:54, okay, that's what I'm looking at. Like, oh, we have the equal highs. They're really refusing to take it lower. Like, it does go higher to go lower, but then it just comes right back up again. It's like, okay, well, then it may not be a short. May not be a short. And then the macro gave the clear indication. There's your sign. There's your neon sign in the middle of the night when you're driving, blinking, saying ding, 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 ding. Here's a shift in state delivery towards equal highs inside of a macro. Boom. No tools required. No tools required, baby. No tools. I'm not Bob the Builder, dog. We don't need tools. Okay? That's all I'm saying. No shade. No shade. It's just look at it. Look at it. But anyway, new hive day, new all-time highs again. So, like I said earlier, what do you do with that? I think it would be suicide to short, like I said prior to us making a new hive day, right? I told you to check on your homies who want to be short, because they're not doing well today. Okay. But that'll be it. We'll go ahead and shut it down here. Y'all be blessed. Okay. Don't do anything stupid. We'll be here same time, same place tomorrow on Tuesday the 28th for the same price. Always free, baby. Always free. Y'all be good. I'll see you tomorrow.